I found out about you through your podcast, and we're going to be talking about more of an advanced Amazon influencer approach.
I think that's kind of what we were wanting to go in today, was just some of the strategies that have worked well for me, but learn some new strategies that can actually probably get you back up to double and or triple your income.
Roughly how much are you making a month now?
The level I'm at, as small of an account as I am coming up on my first $10,000 month.
My earnings have dropped in 2025. You're having the best months of your tenure on Amazon Influencer right now.
I don't think I made that much money on anything I'd done at that point in time with side income.
I want to get 2025, 2026 Amazon Influencer approach out of you.
I have spoke to people and they're earning $10,000 and $15,000 bonuses every month for hitting those shipped revenue tiers.
Vertical versus horizontal. Where are you at with that?
Nothing against vertical. It just doesn't work for me.
What are some tips you have for people to make money with Creator Connections?
All you have to do once you've made a video, if there's a Creator Connections campaign available.
All right, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. My name is Jared Bauman. Today, we're joined by Mike Strahl with the Basic Influencer Strategies podcast. Mike, welcome on board.
Hey, appreciate you, Jared. Thanks for having me on, sir.
Yeah, always good to interview another podcaster. I was telling you this will be easy before we hit record because, you kind of know what you're doing. But all kidding aside, like I found out about you through your podcast, and we're going to be talking about Amazon Influencer today. That's certainly a lot of what your podcast is about. But I think we're going a little broader into kind of UGC in general. I'm excited, though, because we haven't talked about this topic in a little while. So, but as we like to do, before we get into all the details of what we're doing today, maybe bring us up to speed on who you are, your backstory, and what got you into UGC from a high level.
Yeah, sure. No problem. So I just turned 41 this year, and a better part of my working career, I've been in the blue collar space. So I've done everything from construction to right now, the last 15 years, I've been a lineman, and I'm also in charge of a lot of the network outages. So when your fiber optic line gets hit in your area and there's 50,000 people down, that's on me. And with that being said, I've always, especially since I got married, so when me and my wife got together, I've always had some kind of a side hustle. And that's been, 13 years now, as of a couple of days ago. So we started off with, when we got married, we did a lot of DIY stuff, and a lot of that stuff the venue wanted to keep. That kind of led us into an Etsy store. Did a lot of handmade stuff. I've actually still got that store open, although it's not very active these days. But I learned really quickly that trying to manage a full-time job, especially something as demanding as mine, where I'm on call 24/7, and then coming home, working in the shop for long hours at night, and then kids came along eventually. There's so many hours in a day, and when you're out there trying to plug away and batch out 30, 40 items at a time, I was really just trading my time for money. That's all I was doing. So while I've kept that store active, I've always been looking for something else, and I tend to find things that are kind of in the seasonality, where Etsy's really good during like the Christmas months for me, but then the rest of the year it's kind of quiet. So I try to find things that would fill the gaps throughout the year, that would keep income coming in, but it's always kind of been at a hobby basis. So I plow snow commercially. I still do that to this day. And then I've got a farm here as well. So and the farm is full time. Now we're on a 5-acre property, so we're not like a big outfit, but we do raise around 600 meat birds a year. We raise 15, 20 pigs a year, things like that. So, and that's just a first generation farm, something we kind of started at the hobby level as well. And we've kind of worked our way through. Now that kind of leads me into how this all came about in terms of content creation. So on the farm, I opened, like most people do, a Facebook page and trying to stay relevant. I've got my website, but as well as I do, most people get their food from the grocery store. And if you're not front of mind and you're not convenient like Meijer and Walmart and all these other big stores are, you kind of fall out of the spotlight and people don't forget that you're there. So in me trying to stay front of mind, just posting reels, posting photos on my Facebook account for the farm, I had a reel. I think it was in June of 2023 that I posted. It was just a reel of me and my kids hooking up a livestock trailer to the truck. And they like to be included in everything I do. So we filled that reel, and I'll tell you what, in a matter of weeks, thing just started getting views and more views and more views. And within I think it was a week, I'd already hit 1 million views on that reel. And I went from a Facebook page with like 200 subscribers to like 15 or so thousand subscribers. Well, over the course of like 3 months, next thing I know, I've got an account with 25,000 subscribers on it and a reel that had hit 3 million views. Not knowing what to do with that, I'm a huge YouTube watcher. I pretty much anytime I need to learn something, YouTube University is where I go to learn my stuff. So I started looking, how do I take this this reel, capitalize on it, and try to make some money from it. Well, it was around, I think, July, August timeframe. I found the Amazon Influencer Program, and it was actually an email that was sent to me because I was an associate anyways, for like offsite, which we'll dive into that. Excuse me. So I got this email. I'm like, I wonder what this is. And I hop on, I apply. I don't get in. It took me about a month to get into it. Now, I think probably you've already covered a lot of your other podcasts that you said you've done a few of these in the past where you have to get in phase one. And that's basically just having a social media platform that will qualify you. So whether it be Facebook, TikTok, you name it. Some platforms are easier to get in with than others. And that's something that I think still holds true to this day. TikTok and YouTube, in my opinion, seem to be the easiest that you can get in with. Once you get in, they're like, okay, hey, congratulations. Now we're going to judge you. And you have to submit 3 videos. And which is what I did. I picked 3 things around the house that I felt like simple enough to explain. Most of it's usually going to be like a toaster or a coffee pot, something like that. Those 3 videos are judged by Amazon.
I think I did a coffee pot for one of my first 3 videos.
There you go. There you go. So once you get in, you get the big, banner at the beginning saying, hey, congratulations. You can start earning commissions from your videos now. Well, that was, I think my date was August 27th is when I got in. And in that first couple of days, I made 27 cents. Now, outside of making money on Etsy, which for physical products, this is the first time that I actually earned money with something like this, where it's just an affiliate income, essentially. So I was pretty excited about that 27 cents. Now, fast forward to, let's just say November, December, I really ramped up and I think it's like 40 to 60 videos a month that I was doing. Now, I heavily edit my videos. I'm not very good and well-spoken when I speak live, so I can't do the one-take videos like some can. And we'll dive into that a little bit too if you want. But by December, which is my 4th month in, I had actually made $5,800 in that in that 4th month doing the program. And I felt like that was pretty cool. I mean, I don't think I made that much money on anything I had done at that point in time with side income. And I did it in 4 months' time. Now, obviously, how long have you been in the program, Jared?
2.5 years. I think I got in May 2023. So just before you.
Just before me. So there you go. So you remember back in 2023 how it was so much less saturated.
Yeah.
And that's a good and a bad thing both. But that's also, I think, why we're wanting to talk today, because there's certain ways you can pivot nowadays. And I've managed to actually scale mine up to, I think my best month so far this year has been $9,200. Now, that's not just Amazon Influencer. We'll break that down for you as the episode goes. Yep. But it just kind of goes to show you that someone who's blue collar, who really didn't have a lot of knowledge with technology. I mean, I'm pretty good with technology in terms of setting up modems and things like that. But as far as editing videos and all that goes, I had no clue where to start. I had to figure this out as I went. And I'm someone who kind of overanalyzes anyways. So it was kind of nice to be able to, I guess, ramp up so quickly. And then I've essentially, over the last couple of years, I've kind of been, I hate to say it this way, but I've kind of become a mentor to many people. I guess the reason I hate to say it this way is I don't feel like an expert in my field by any means. There's always something to learn. And I think that's kind of what we were wanting to go in today, was just some of the strategies that have worked well for me and how you can kind of diversify the income away from on-site to where someone who has been in the program for 2 years, like you have been, but maybe you're seeing declining numbers over the months, how we can basically not rebrand yourself, but learn some new strategies that can actually probably get you back up to double and or triple your income just based on purchasing a few software programs that are out there and diversifying into YouTube or Instagram or whatever platform you decide to choose.
Okay, so that was a perfect intro, and I want to kind of double down on a couple of things that you said. Number one, we have covered Amazon Influencer, how to get in, how to get started, best practices. I know there's a lot of people who have not heard those episodes because they're maybe newer listeners. It was about a year or two ago. I'm going to link to those in the show notes because I want to get more value out of you, more of an advanced Amazon Influencer approach. And that's the big thing here. I want to get 2025, 2026 Amazon Influencer approach out of you, because what we talked about was 2023 and 2024. Still relevant, still applicable, still best practices. But I'm going to tell you from the outset that yes, my earnings have dropped in 2025. And what I've come to realize from listening to some podcasts on my summer road trip, yours included, is that my approach hasn't updated like yours has. And my approach, and I'm still going about the same way, and I'm still making great money for the time I'm putting in, for the record. However, you and other people have opened up my eyes to the ways that we've got to continually adapt our approach to the program. you're having the best months of your tenure on Amazon Influencer right now. And a lot of people can't say that. For myself, I can't say that, but that's because I'm just now starting to understand that I've got to adapt my approach. And that's what we want to talk about today. How do we need to adapt our approach beyond just making on-site shoppable videos that show up in carousels and that people click on? There's so much more available to us now. And I think that kind of kicks off where we want to go today. Can you talk next about what has changed in your approach from your first month or two, maybe that first Q4 season of 2023, where you did really well, to now what you're doing today?
Yeah, sure. So when we first started, obviously in 2023, Creator Connections wasn't as much of a thing. I think it did exist, but it took a little bit of time to get accepted in that. It was invite only. They've changed that around to where basically within the first month, once you've been in the program, most people can get into Creator Connections now. So with that being said, I didn't actually hop into Creator Connections right away. I was a little bit resistant to it because it was new and I wasn't adapting. So a lot of my success I had in the first 4 months there, where I hit that $5,800 a month, come January, February, things slow down. Unless you're kind of in the fitness niche or something that really resonates at the beginning of the year. I was seeing $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. So I dropped drastically. Now, I was still learning, so I wasn't overly upset about it because it was still money coming in. But I wanted to get this. The goal for me has always been to leave my 9-to-5. And I'm getting to where I'm about 4 to 6 months away from being able to do that now, because this year's kind of been my proving grounds for me as to if I can make what I make at work, I think I'm ready to go. So diving into Creator Connections, I think I did that. I want to say it was August maybe of 2024. And to be honest, I didn't see a ton of traction. I was seeing maybe an extra $100, $200 a month at the beginning, but still it was money that was already being earned. And I can go ahead and dive in. I don't know if you want to dive into Creator Connections, actually what that is, but basically a brand has the opportunity to offer you an extra 10 up to 50% on each sale you make on your on-site income. They've also got that to where you can do it off-site as well. So for sake of just saying on-site right now and just influencer for your shoppable videos, all you have to do once you've made a video, if there's a Creator Connections campaign available, you can accept that campaign. You link your video to that campaign, and every time that item sells, you're going to make your 1 to 4% like you have been doing this whole time. But now you're going to earn an extra 10 to 50% on the item as well from that campaign for as long as that campaign runs and as long as that campaign has the budget available. So for sake of example, let's just say you've got a pair of shoes and that pair of shoes is $50. That pair of shoes might pay you $1.50, $2, something like that on site. But every time that pair of shoes now sells on Creator Connections and you've got that campaign, you're going to get, let's just say, extra 10%. That's an extra $5 on that pair of shoe that you're going to do. Now take the stakes up a little higher. Let's say it's a plasma cutter for the shop and that thing costs $1,000 and it's 10%. Let's just say 10% for easy numbers. Now I'm earning, let's just say $15, $20 on site for that portion, and then an extra $100 on top of that. So you can see how 1, 2, 3 of those over the course of a month can really add up. And this is where, if you get enough campaigns going, I think right now I'm sitting at 450 campaigns currently that are active for my 840 video library. And that's something I want to jump into later if we have a second, as far as video counts and what that means. But for my library is relatively small in comparison to some. And I'm still able to earn those numbers that are out earning people that have 2,000 and 3,000 videos on their library for their storefront. And a lot of it has to do with item selection, utilizing Creator Connections, both on-site and off-site. And then something we haven't spoke about yet is you can reach out to these brands on Creator Connections, send them a message asking for a free sample. And it is a little harder to do now than it was a year ago because there's so many of us in Creator Connections now. But by simply sending out these messages, and if you do 10 or 15 a day to brands, and it can be items that you actually want, or these can just be things that you want to basically just review them and then sell them on like Facebook Marketplace. It's whatever strategy you want to go with. For me and my time, I don't have a lot of extra time available, and I treat this very part-time still right now. So I don't have a lot of outreach that I'm doing currently. I'm relying more so on the inbound proposals that are sent to me. And then I've got some reoccurring connections that I've worked, most of them through Creator Connections, where I've done 1 or 2 items for them. And they have enjoyed working with me so much, or my sales have been good enough that and then I guess offer me more items, and I will usually accept those. But I'm actually pretty picky too. So a lot of people will basically just say yes to everything. I have a little bit different approach where I try to make sure they're items that are within my ballpark and niche. And the reason I do that is if I was to get a curling iron to review, how excited am I going to come across on video when I do that video on a curling iron that I know nothing about? So you can absolutely review that. There's no problem with that. However, you come off a lot more authentic and approachable, I guess, in terms of your video and how knowledgeable you are. Your enthusiasm over the item comes across on camera. So I try to stick in the more like DIY, automotive, things like that when I do my videos, because I know about those subjects, and I do very well in those fields when I review those topics. So does that kind of lay out creator connections for you, or is there any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're listening, like, one of the benefits of the Amazon Influencer Program is you take all the stuff you got, you own, you make videos about it. You never have to interact with the brand. You never have to interact with consumers. You publish the videos on the pages to Amazon, and they get put on the product pages. This is a new layer. You're interacting with, you can interact with brands, but the first basic step with Creator Connections is just taking advantage of the opportunities that are already there. You're going to find that if you're at, I don't know, call it 100 videos, there might be 1, 2, 3, 4 creator connection campaigns already actively running for videos you've already made, products you already own. And then there's the added layer of, okay, now let's make something from this. You know, I'm looking, I've got to boot it up. There's just shy of 367,000 creator connection campaigns active right now. I'm literally looking live. So then you start to get into the world of what you're talking about, reaching out to brands, getting strategic. Maybe if you can't get a free sample from the brand, you're just strategically purchasing it because the metrics of sales are to the point where it's worth spending $50 on that plasma. Well, you can't get a plasma cutter for $50, but you get what I'm saying. $50 on a on a blender, you know, and you buy that blender, you make that video, and then you harness those earnings and those rewards. You interact with the brands, and then you get to the point where you're at, where brands are actually reaching out to you, which I think is a bit of the holy grail. Probably not where many people listening are right now.
Okay,
let's set the stage though, in terms of where you're at. Like, roughly how much are you making a month now? How much are you anticipating maybe Q4? And what percentage of that is Creator Connections? To give people an idea of how much is Creator Connections for like a modern Amazon influencer versus how much is the on-site standard influencer earnings?
Sure. So it's kind of cool to break down, especially this year, in the last, 5 or 6 months, I've added income streams that I didn't have prior to. And what's, I guess, cool about that is, so a year ago, just over a year ago now, I started a YouTube channel and was just trying to cross-post the videos I was posting to Amazon to be able to earn more money from the same video, right? So more money, less, same effort. You're putting the effort in anyways. So I started that channel. I started posting mainly just my bigger items that I was putting on Amazon. So if it was a $10 knickknack that I did a review on for Amazon, I probably don't put those on my YouTube. Over the course of a year, I built that channel up to where essentially I just got monetized on 2 YouTube channels within a month apart. One of them is my personal channel, and the other one is the review channel, which I essentially just cross-post to. And by just hitting that monetization button on YouTube for the review channel, that instantly added $400 a month, just right there alone. And that's based on around 80,000 views a month is what I see on that channel right now. Now, you also have to keep in mind too, there's offsite as well. So essentially every item I've done that video for on site, which is your Amazon influencer, your shoppable videos, offsite, now I'm earning a commission when someone clicks on my link. So the difference between those two, just in case, let's backtrack a little bit, is shoppable videos, they are coming to Amazon. You're not driving the traffic.
Correct. On
offsite, you are responsible for driving that traffic to Amazon. And with that being said, they do pay a little bit higher on the rates. Not a lot, but they do pay a little higher.
It's like double, isn't it? I mean,
no, it's not double.
It's not double.
No,
like
I don't think
3% instead of 2% kind of thing.
Yeah, basically. And some of them are 0.5% even. It depends on the category. Yeah. But you do earn a little bit more for driving the traffic. Now, they also have a creator rewards program. Are you familiar with that one?
I am familiar with that. I get those emails. Okay. So and I heard you talk about that on the podcast interview. I listened to you on your podcast. You talked about the creator rewards and getting different tier levels.
Yes.
Because you're driving more offsite. I drive hardly any offsite. So my creator rewards are like laughable when they offer it to me. So I'm like, whatever. But I didn't know they were tiered. It makes sense. And you shared that yours are a lot higher than mine.
And they went up even more for Q4. Now, these are confidential numbers, so we aren't supposed to share those exact numbers. So what I'll do is speak in generalities on this. But I did the same thing. I didn't opt into those at first because I wasn't doing a lot on offsite.
It was low. It's like, if you do this, you'll get like, I don't remember, but like $20.
It's like $1,000 in shipped revenue. You might make $20 for the
something
month.
Like that. Yeah.
Whoop you do. However, you start hitting those tiers for however many months it is that you opt in. And there's no penalty if you opt in and don't perform, by the way. It's just a goal. But when you hit those goals, there's usually 3 to 4 tiers roughly they offer you per month. And as you start hitting those tiers, they up the tiers. So someone, when you start just starting off, might make that $20 a month versus, not me personally, but I have spoke to people. These people really exist, and they're earning $10,000 and $15,000 bonuses every month for hitting those shipped revenue tiers. That's a bonus just because they hit 200 grand in shipped revenue on offsite. So you could think about these bigger YouTube accounts or even Instagram where they're driving the traffic. Let's just a blog if you're if that's what you're into, and they're driving $250,000 in shipped revenue to Amazon. They reward you for that. And I don't know about you, but $15,000 a month just as the I guess what am I saying? The incentive here for the reward. Think about what they're earning on top of that, just in the commissions.
And again, it's worth clarifying for you, your creator rewards are based on the offsite traffic you're driving from the original videos you've created.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because when I hear offsite, I think of popular Instagram influencers that have built up 150,000 followers who wait for them to show off their clothing that they wore for the day and then drive a bunch of people. No problem with that, by the way. It's just not my gig. It's not what I'm going to do. So when I hear stuff like that, offsite, I immediately find myself maybe tuning out. But I love how you've talked about how, hey, my offsite, so my offsite earnings and my creator rewards that come as a bonus for offsite earnings. This is all because I just took my videos and made a YouTube channel about it. And I'm now using that to drive offsite back to these programs. That's where it gets interesting, because then you're just taking what you've already done and you're just replicating it in another environment and now harnessing different parts of the Amazon influencer program, on-site and off-site, creator rewards and creator connections.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So that's really neat about that is creator connections. Obviously, that's available on both. So anytime you sell something on site or off site, if there's a campaign for that, it's linked. You're making money on both of those. That's a 10-20% incentive right there. Creator rewards that goes towards your shipped revenue goals that you have to hit for the month. And my Q4 goals are lofty, but if I can hit them, it could be 20% of what I'm making currently now.
Yeah, 4 figures, right? You can make 4 figures if you hit them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Per month.
Low four figures for the month if I can hit my top shipped revenue goal. So
again, this is off of a YouTube channel that you just started with your videos and really, kind of just got monetized to put, the number of subscribers and watch hours in people's minds. That's about where it's at right now.
And let's put that in perspective too, because I'm not a big channel. So my review channel is sitting at, I think it's just over 1,200 subscribers right now. And I'm seeing around 80,000 views. That's not a big channel. A lot of the channels I look up to are in the 200, 300,000 follower realm. And it's just amazing at the level I'm at, and as small of an account as I am coming up on my first $10,000 month. And I think that's a very achievable goal for November, December, coming into Q4 with Black Friday and then all the Christmas sales that follow in December. If I don't hit $10,000 both those months, or at least one of them, I'll be very surprised.
Good reset there, because I'd asked that question. I do want to come back to it. Maybe let's use the $10,000 month in November and December as the kind of model here. How much of that on-site, off-site, creator connections, not just to give people a frame of mind? Like, and again, I'm talking to the person who's maybe like, I think I'll earn $3,000 in November. Q4 bump, all that. I'm going to earn 3,000, but I'm just doing the classic, make a video, upload it to Amazon and walk off. How much of a split are we talking about with your, say, $10,000 example?
So, and my numbers may not add up to 10K, but let's see if we can do this here. So on site for, I think, November, and based on history of what I've seen the last 2 years, I would say $4,000 a month for the month of November is pretty realistic.
That's about what I did last November, for the record.
Okay. So, and then with creator connections, what I've typically been seeing is I am meeting or exceeding my on-site numbers.
Wow.
So that being, 4,000, let's add another 4,000 of that will be conservative. So we're at 8K right there alone. We haven't even touched off-site yet. So this year, this is why I say if I don't hit 10K, I would be very surprised. With offsite, let's just add the YouTube number in there. So $400 to $500 a month just for monetization on YouTube and videos. That number may go up because I don't have any data for that yet. That's still new to me. But then you add in the offsite income. I'm seeing $500 to $1,000 a month right now on offsite. And then you add in the incentive bonus, low 4 figures. So like we just said, we're over 10K already. And I can keep going because I haven't even talked about brand deals and getting paid for those. I haven't talked about any user-generated content. If I decide to go that route this year, there's so many other ways to earn. I mean, you could start a blog you could blog a buyer's guide and say, these are the top 10 items for campers this year in 2025, I guess 2026, going into 2026. And inside of that blog, you can embed the video that you've already created. Now you're driving traffic to your YouTube channel from your own blog. You can get your blog monetized as well, just based off traffic alone. You're earning offsite for any sales you generate on both of those. You're not even triple dipping. You're like quintuple dipping on all of this, and it all works together cohesively to form that offsite number. So you can see where I'm expecting 8K just on-site alone with Creator Connections. I could very easily add 5 or 10K to that, just depending on how my strategy plays out and whether I miss the mark. And that's the thing. If you miss the mark by a little bit, that's okay, because we're going to learn from those mistakes. And then next year in Q4, we're going to come back that much stronger and go, okay, this didn't work. You're collecting data as you go. And as long as this isn't your full-time income yet, there's really no harm, no foul. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I'm at right now with this year. I can test a little bit. Now, next year, if I go away from my full-time job and this becomes more of an income where this is what's keeping my family alive, I may not be able to afford to take those risks as much then. But for a lot of us, this is still side hustle income. Why not experiment a little bit and see where it goes?
Okay, I have so many questions. I'm already halfway through. I'm going to start drilling you with some specific questions. So Creator Connections, let's get, because 367,000 plus campaigns right now. I know from when I first did it, you get in there and you're like, let's do this, and it's so overwhelming.
It is.
How do you? And by the way, it's very easy to not be profitable with it. It's very easy to spin your wheels, get a lot of stuff for free, but not make a lot of money at the end of it. So cut to the chase, what are some tips you have for people to make money with Creator Connections and to not be overwhelmed at the same time?
So this is where things have evolved, and we're going to get into subscriptions a little bit, because this is where it really moves the needle for you. When I first started, I literally was just typing in the search bar, Jumpstarter, Hammer, whatever the thing is that I might want to actually see, and see what popped up. And I would just pick those items based on what I thought would be worth reviewing. However, Viral View and Oink have come onto the scene. Fluencer Fruits is out there as well. I don't know a lot about it these days, but I do know that these two that I just mentioned are really mainstreaming how this works. And for anywhere from $30 to $80 a month, you're going to spend a little bit of money to make a lot more money. And what that's really doing for you is you can go through all of those Creator Connections campaigns, and it will essentially sort them for you. And it'll show you what the best opportunities are on there. And then they take it a step further. They can actually automate, like you can have a message saved in your thing, and you can just go through and check the boxes, and it'll instantly send those messages off to those brands for you. And in turn, you can get those samples back. So instead of, like you said, spinning your wheels, some of these items, just because they have a campaign, might have 300 other influencers that have already done a video. Well, this software, both Oink and Viral View, they will show you how many influencer videos are on each and every item you're looking at. This is for Creator Connections, and it's also just searching through Amazon looking for things to buy. So if you've got two items here, let's just, for sake of camping, surge protectors. So if you got these two surge protectors right here in front of you, and this one here's got 400 videos on it already. This one's got 50. Which one are you going to do? Or let's make that number down. Let's take it to like 10 or 20 influencer videos. I'm going to go with the one that's got a lot less competition.
Heck yeah.
If it's selling.
That's the sales data to look at.
So if the sales data is there and it's moving 400 units a month, or whatever number you decide is good, then I would go with that one. Now, you also want to keep in mind quality. So there's a lot of Chinese stuff out there that's not going to be quality. So there's a lot of variables that you need to play into each decision especially if you're using your own money to purchase this item. But what I've come to find is if it's got over 100 videos on it, or even 50 videos already on it, it's really probably not worth your time. However, if you're doing offsite and you've got YouTube, it may still be worthwhile to go ahead and do that video, throw it up there, because it may hit the carousel eventually, but you might be able to earn that income on YouTube in the meantime, because whereas Amazon and the shoppable videos is not really treated like a search engine, you just are kind of there waiting to be clicked on if someone comes to that listing and wants to look at a video. YouTube is a lot like Google. They'll search you out, not you specifically, but your item. And as long as you've got your keywords and your SEO all there and available, and your videos doing okay in terms of like your click-through rates on your thumbnails, then you could still earn income on that item. But as I mentioned, Viral View and Oink put all of that sales data out there for you, and you can at a quick glance look at each item's specific data and decide within 30 seconds whether that item would be worth you at least making an attempt on a video or not.
Give someone a little, because that's a lot of calculus to be doing. Mm-hmm. And I understand that calculus because I'm going through it in the last couple months too. You're like, for someone new to Creator Connections, going to sign up for like a viral view or something that's going to give you this data at your fingertips. What are some good, simple parameters for people starting off to go by? You talked about 50 videos. Maybe it's lower. Like if it's over X videos, skip it. If it's under X sales, skip it. If it's et cetera. So that way people can kind of get access to the 367,000 campaigns, but then give maybe what are your recommendations out of the gate for specifically what to pursue, you know?
So there's a lot of it has to do with expertise and where you're kind of at in the program. Someone who's newer, you've got a lot to learn and your videos are going to get better as you go. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to tweak my videos. So for me, I have a little bit more, I'll take a little bit more risk. And if it's got 50 influencer videos already on it, I'll probably go ahead and still make the video because I feel like I can compete. It might take me a little bit to get on that video carousel just because they have to be rotated in. But as your video starts to perform when it is in carousel, it will eventually stay in the carousel longer. However, if you're doing a video one take or you're just fumbling through because you're still kind of learning, it's going to be really hard for you to compete at first unless you're just naturally gifted on camera. And so I would say at that point in time, 10, 15, 20 influencer videos on a certain listing would probably be where I would stick at. And then as far as like sales data goes, when you're looking at that, it will give you like the 30-day revenue for that item. And it'll also show you like how many items roughly have shipped in a month. I stick around 100. I mean, if it's selling 100 a month,
100 videos
keep in mind,
or 100 products. I mean,
100 products per month. Yes. Then, and let's just say it's a $20 item. That's a lower item in terms of high ticket value. So out of those, if you convert even 3 of them, I mean, it's not really moving the needle a lot. But if you can find an item, and I've done this several times now, where it moves 5,000 a month, and there's 8 influencers on the video, I've got a really good chance of selling 20, 30 of those items in a month, especially at Christmas time. So I think the best I've ever done, December 23, I had a Frisbee that I had a video on. Now nowadays that listing's completely saturated. At the time it wasn't. I sold over 1,000 Frisbees in 1 month just on onsite for shoppable videos. And that was before the software was available. So if you can figure out what those trending items are going to be, and it's a trial and error, you just got to learn as you go. But that software just really takes it a step further. It takes all the thinking out of it in terms of you having to do the research. It's just boom, right there on the screen. And that for paying, I think it's around $70 a month is what I pay for my tier level on ViralView that I use. They easily make me 4 or 5x my earnings just by using that program alone, just by auto accepting creator campaigns. That's something we haven't talked about yet. So you were mentioning looking through those creator campaigns, and you also said you can look through like videos you've already shot, 5 things that you own in your house, and you shot those videos. How are you supposed to go through almost 400,000 campaigns and
every day?
Every day,
because you don't know when they're going to crop up. Like you might,
right?
When you first sign up for Creator Connections, it might be like, oh, cool, there's 4 campaigns.
Right.
Well, their campaigns are starting and stopping every single day.
Right. So by using these subscriptions, it does it for you. Every morning I get up, I hit the button, it runs through all those campaigns and cross-references with my videos, and it accepts the ones I need to do, and then it auto links them for me, and I'm done. In 10 minutes or less, based on your internet connection speed, I've got all those campaigns, and I can go do something else. I can concentrate on my business instead.
Yeah. Let's talk about getting free product versus not, and when you make an investment to buy a product based on the metrics. You have data that people, if you're not using some of this subscription software, like that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But you do get access to data. And how do you make decisions about what to actually strategically buy? Because it's one thing to see a campaign and be like, okay, it's got 3 videos in the carousel, it's selling, like, and then you reach out, you say, can you send me a free product? They send you the free product and you make a video. That's different calculus than going, they're not going to send me a product for free. Should I buy it to make a video about it? And you're doing some of that, aren't you?
I am. And I think I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty picky these days. When you're first starting off at a beginner level, you're pretty much just openly, willingly going to accept anything that comes to you. I mean, you're so excited about getting something for free. It's almost like Christmas every morning or every evening when packages are delivered. I've had 20 packages show up on my doorstep. However,
You got to make a video about each one of those.
It's overwhelming. I mean, it really is. And then all these companies want their video. Yeah. Because I mean, and so there are many people out there who they take the approach where it's one take, in and out, they move the product and they're off to the next one. And it works for them. Some people, it doesn't work. For me, I'm a lot more calculated, like you mentioned, where I might take 2 items a week or maybe 10 a month. And I focus real heavily on getting into those item specifics as to how this thing works. How long does the battery last? I try to answer the questions that most videos aren't answering. So I want to, because ultimately what you're trying to do here is your shoppable video. When they watch your video, you don't want them to go on to the next video. You want to answer all the questions because the last person's video viewed gets the commission.
Yep. Not
so
first.
If you didn't answer, yeah. So you want to watch it and you want them to purchase right from there. You don't have to be salesy to get that accomplished. You can basically, I know I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. I'll circle back around in just a second. I promise.
It's okay.
But when you do that shoppable video, you don't want to be salesy. You want to be more like the person next door. I've always kind of been seen as the guy that knows the stuff about the tools because I've overanalyzed everything anyways. If I'm going to buy a table saw, I get friends come to me, hey man, which one would you buy nowadays? I know you've done the research. So I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, I know the specs. I know how long the battery lasts. I know whether it fades in the sun, whatever those things might be. And if you answer all those questions better than the person that you're competing with, you're going to get the sale ultimately in the long run. That's kind of just how this works. So then that also plays into your conversion rate as well, as far as how many people have clicked on you versus how many people make the sale. And for me, I shoot for somewhere between 10 and 15% conversion rates on those items. Let's go and circle back because I know I got off topic. So you're asking more like how to select which items to purchase, I guess, if you're spending your own money.
I'm asking for myself because I am in Creator Connections. I'm actively reaching out using the software to get some samples based on some of the similar math you talked about. I have not dove in to buying something strategic. I'm not against it, but it's definitely new territory for me. So I'm almost asking for myself here.
Sure. So the thing to keep in mind is when you get into a lot of the expensive items on Creator Connections, you're probably one of 100 people that have already asked for that item. They might only be giving out 4 samples. So in all honesty, you're probably not going to get the sample unless your email was just spot on what they were looking for. The more you know about how to talk to a brand and what they're looking for, the more you'll be able to stand out. So obviously they're looking for what is going to benefit them. They don't necessarily need to know everything about you. So you do want to put some data out there because you want them to know who you are and like as far as your view counts go and some of your analytics. But in the end, are we trying to help them with an awareness campaign that they're basically at a brand new item coming out and they're mainly just wanting to get a spotlight shined on that. And they're looking for the best way to do that, whether it be YouTube, Amazon, whatever it is. Or are they looking at a promotional campaign where this item is going to be on a Black Friday sale and they just want as many creators to blast that this item is going to be 50% off. So the more you know about a brand and how they think, and that takes some time to kind of learn, the better you're going to be at, I guess, having these kind of back and forth with them. And you can actually get to the point, especially if they reach out to you, where you can negotiate like a commission off of that right off the top. So just for doing the video, you can earn maybe $50 or $100 just for making the video for them. And they'll pay you kind of a flat rate incentive for putting that video out in the world. And then you can also go into usage rights as well, where they want to take that, put that on their personal website. And now you can charge them a $500 fee to have the video rights, whether it be in perpetuity or if it's just a 1-year deal, however you decide to negotiate that. But circling back, because I keep getting off topic, there's so much to talk about. But the
just see my agenda.
Oh yeah, this episode might go a little longer. I apologize, but the $1,000 chair that's on there, that's a massage chair. Especially if you're brand new, you're probably not going to get that chair. So let's start focusing on those $100 items that are on there. That, for me, like I said, it's like jump starter packs, it's camping equipment, things like that. Those are kind of the things I'm into these days. So those are the things I gravitate to the most. So you could take the approach where you just give me everything, and a lot of the stuff's going to be like more of the Chinese branded type stuff, and that's who you're communicating with. So ultimately, when you're emailing back and forth with these brands, you're going to get emails in the middle of the night that you wake up to and have to respond to. And that's just the nature of the business. But what I've found, I get the ones that I've got that I like to do repeat business with. And it takes a little while to pick those out. But let's just say like a portable cooler that's in the $200 range. They'll give out couple dozen of those to creators. So you've got a better chance of getting those. You won't know that up front, but after you started talking to some of these brands, a lot of them have other brands or sister brands that they work with as well. And your name gets out to those brands. So really, there's not a good answer in terms of how to pick out a successful creator connections campaign. In my opinion, it really is kind of trial and error. There's a little bit of luck involved. But I do know the more effort you put into a video, when you do get a free thing coming to you, the more likely that brand is to reach back out and say, hey, you guys, you did really good on the video last time. It performed well for us. Would you mind doing this item for us as well? And I think that's where I have the advantage on editing my videos like I do versus someone who does one take in and out and just cycles on. It's like next, it's like an assembly of line. Now, when you're looking in terms of purchasing something, especially when it comes to creator connections, for me, there's been a little bit of luck there. I typically, with me furnishing an RV this year when I bought a fifth wheel camper, there was a lot of things that I wanted to purchase. And that's kind of where a lot of my items have been focused here recently is that kind of in that industry. But there's a lot of camping stuff on Creator Connections. So just typing in bed sheets, surge protectors, rugs into Creator Connections to see what pops up. And it gives you a very focused search at that point. Well, then at that point, you can take those and plug it into like Viral View or Oink, and it'll prioritize those in terms of how well it thinks that item's going to do for you based on the analytics that you've laid out. And then if they can't get the free sample, I always try free sample first. If I can't get the free sample, then I can say, okay, this rug was $50. I couldn't get a hold of them. They weren't willing to give me a sample this time. There's 10 influencers on it. It's selling $1,000 a month. I'm going to go ahead and just buy this, and I need it anyways. And I think it's a lot easier knowing that it's an item that you're going to use to go ahead and spend that money versus if you take a risk and it's a $100 item that you're never even going to use to begin with. Now you've got to turn around and try to sell it on Marketplace at 50% of the value that you're going to be able to, that you purchased it for. So you're in terms to break even, you're going to have to at least get $50 in commissions on the $100 rug if you sold it for $50 just to even break even. So there's a calculated risk there involved. Did that answer the question?
It did. I think a lot of people are probably already have enough on their to-do list without having to buy products. I already have a lot that they can still be taken advantage of inside of Creator Connections that they're not without having to purchase products. But that is a way to unlock, if you can do the math right and you can find these campaigns that have great sales, perhaps low competition in terms of the number of videos that are made or even the quality of the videos that are made, and then, kind of go down that route. So you've touched on it a couple times now. I've always been a big proponent of filming quick videos with the Amazon Influencer Program. I'm decent on camera, so that as an acknowledged head start that I have, I can. But I have always come at that with a couple of caveats, or because of a couple of reasons. Number one, that is under the old model where you're literally just getting it on site, and that's all that you're trying to do is just get that video on site. And I always found that people really, when they were looking at when they were looking at Amazon influencer video, they were just trying to see it up close and they were trying to see it in action. And so if I could make a video that showed it up close and showed it in action, that was a successful video, and I could look at the metrics of view time and conversion rates and all that kind of stuff. The other reason is because it wasn't being used anywhere else. And people look at products very differently when they're on YouTube than they do when they're already on that page on Amazon, just trying to see one last thing before they make the purchase. Going to YouTube with it, going to a brand on Creator Connections with it, that does change the math. That does change the reasons why you make the video. And it all does point to making longer, more involved videos, to your point. Talk about what kind of connections you have seen to having longer, more in-depth videos as it relates to how they perform. Have you seen connections to your videos showing up better in carousels versus, because you mentioned earlier, I wrote it down, right now you have 800 videos. You're making a lot of money off of 800 videos compared to the averages I hear people are making off the number of videos they have. Your library is small compared to the earnings you have. Right. You also are in 450 Creator Connections campaigns for only 800 videos. And that's also a very high number from what I hear elsewhere. So there's got to be some connection to your long form, in-depth videos that is causing some of your success.
Yeah. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I guess you're talking about small library. So the 840 videos that I've got, before Creator Connections, before Offsite, before YouTube, I was like everybody else. I was averaging $4, $5, $6 per video. So essentially just take your library and divide that out by your earnings. And you can kind of get a feel for how much per video you're making. Most of the time, at least in the last several months here, I'm averaging $10, $15, $16 a video. And it's mainly because I've taken that video from Onsite. I put it on YouTube, like we've already talked about. And so I'm getting multiple opportunities now to earn from that video. Now, in terms of like short form, long form, there's really no wrong or right way. So the thing is, like, if I've got a hairbrush and it's
don't make a 5-minute video of it.
You don't need a 5-minute video on a $40 fancy hairbrush. I mean, show how the thing works and get in and out. You can do that in a minute or less. So there is a reason to only film a 30-second or minute video on some items. But if I've got a chop saw or table saw in my garage, I need to show a little more detail as to what angles that thing does. If you have time with the tool over the last year, how's that thing performed for you? Does it have ample power when going through wet wood, like an outdoor weather rated wood? Man, words today are hard. So if you're trying like a treated wood and it's wet and you're trying to cut through that, does it have the motor have the power to be able to get through that wood? Repeated cuts, just certain things like that people are going to want to see. If it's a camera, is the camera more meant for outdoor shots, indoor? Is it a blog camera where it's got a screen that you can it's like my Osmo Pocket here, this camera here, I can see myself and put myself in frame. It's got good low light situation. It's got low light settings on it to where if I film at night, it does way better than my iPhone. Those are things that people want to see comparisons on. And if you're putting those in your video, and the other person is like, well, here's what it does, and it rotates, and the battery life is 4 hours, and they're just basically reading the spec list off of the listing. That's great. People still need to know that information. However, they want to know real world, because how many times have you gotten something that advertised a 12-hour battery life and it was actually 4? I need to know that this thing was tested and the specs were off. They greatly inflated the numbers. So that's something that's worth being said as well. Now, for me, my videos are a little more long-winded. I've been trying to get better at it. So I do have a lot of 1, 2, 3-minute videos out there. However, I've got videos that are 10 and 12 minutes long, and I post those to Amazon. Probably not needed. I could probably cut down a lot of information, but for YouTube, that really comes into play there. 10 to 12 minute video on YouTube is nothing. I mean, people are there for that. They want to see that detail.
Yeah.
So really deciding whether you want to do a separate shorter form video. So take that 12-minute video, knock it down to like 6 or 4 minutes even on Amazon, just to keep people's attention span a little better. That's up to you how you want to play that. And that's something I'm going to start playing with as well, just to see if there's a correlation between platforms. But the TikTok type roles, where it's like you mentioned earlier, a fashion designer or fashion person, where they're just showing a shirt and an outfit for the day. That doesn't need 2 minutes either on a video. You can do that in 30 seconds.
Right.
You can do that in a picture in a lot of times. So it really just kind of depends on the items and which categories you're wanting to post these videos into. But I think the biggest takeaway here was the fact that by taking your efforts and being able to multiply those across 5 different diversified income streams, you're able to achieve those 15 or even maybe as much as $20 per video just by using what we've just laid out.
100% agree. Like the ability to take the work you put into a video, and yes, it's easier to make a quick video versus a more in-depth video. But when you start looking at it the way you're looking at it, where, hey, I'm going to earn $15 per month off this video, and versus earning $1 a month per video, which is what a lot of people are making. 1,000 videos, $100,000 a month, right? Like if you're going to make 15x off that video, then yeah, you can justify putting extra 15 to 20 minutes of work into it, whether that's on the filming or on the editing. So it really does change the way you think about it. We're coming up on time. I want to ask you just a couple of quick questions to get your take on it. Most of this is not in the agenda, by the way. Sorry.
Sure.
Sometimes
you're good.
Vertical versus horizontal. Where are you at with that?
I am almost 100% horizontal right now. Nothing against vertical. It just doesn't work for me. And I think a lot of people, there's debate on this, but I like horizontal.
Okay. Replacing old videos with newer, better versions of those videos. Have you ever done it? What do you think about that? Especially if you're the type who maybe did a quick shot video and now you're hearing this and you're like, I want to redo that video. I want to demonstrate that hammock. I want to, take that generator through a bunch of paces. Would you ever go back, delete your video and add a new one?
I would never delete. Unless there was I have deleted in the past, I should say. but it was not for those reasons. It's more the item was no longer available, or they changed something on the item that didn't line up in my video anymore. So don't delete unless there's a reason that you feel is justified. However, a lot of the brand deals that we take are the free gift items. If you decided to keep that and use it in your everyday life, you went from now having like an introductory video where you're kind of going over unboxing. Now you can do a 1 year in review video or a different perspective. There's also no reason why you couldn't take a video and do 2 or 3 different videos at the same time. And if it's an item that can be used in several situations, do a video for each situation, and maybe one will resonate more with an audience than the other.
Last question out of me. We're recording this and we're releasing this as we really get into Q4, which is the big money making season for the influencer program, right? And people will be listening to this at different times of the year going forward, but certainly this question is directed at Q4 initiatives. What's the biggest, most important thing someone who's listening right now can do to prepare themselves better for the upcoming Q4 sales season?
So it depends on your goals. Coming into Q4, we just finished Prime Day as of recording this today. Prime Day ended yesterday. So the big push was up to that. Now we're looking into like Black Friday, and honestly, Black Friday is not even Black Friday anymore. It's more like Black November.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole month nowadays.
So right now, we've got the whole, let's just say the next 3 weeks to coming into November, where sales will start to kind of be made aware or start coming live. Right now is the time to utilize those softwares we already talked about in this podcast, and you can really kind of get some insights as to which items might be the better ones to go with first. Because if you filmed a video on something that's got 100 influencers already on it, you're not probably going to make any traction in the next 3 weeks on that item. So we want to get out as much content now as we can, because coming into Black Friday, when the sales actually start hitting, some of those will go straight to carousel. Some of them won't. You'll have to wait for it to be rotated in. So your efforts could be seen in December instead of November, just based on the competition that's on that item. But something else being more advanced, if you've got a YouTube channel already going or another platform, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, however you guys get your content out there, start looking into buyer's guides, start looking into comparison videos between items, because a lot of people are going to be asking questions as to whether the model 500 series versus the 600, whatever the camera might be, what's the difference between those? What do they do differently? And is it worth the extra $50 to $100 between those two items, to splurge and go with the extra? If you can answer those questions for people and you're the only one covering that topic, you've got a really good chance of being seen, as long as you get your keywords and your SEO out there to go and be able to make those decisions for people and be seen by those from the efforts you're putting in those videos.
Mike, man, we didn't even get into brand deals. I wanted to talk more YouTube, so much there. People love this. If people love this, we'll get Mike back on for part 2. Or maybe we'll just do a check-in in a year or so. We could do this a number of different ways, but this was great. And I really did want to just get again, the high level goal for me is let's get an updated approach to the Amazon Influencer Program. And so I think that you really did a great job walking us through all that. And if you're like me, I'm gonna listen to this one again, because there was a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff you're doing, and it's great to listen to this again to pull out all the different insights you had. Thank you for being here. I heard about you first from your podcast, the Basic Influencer Strategies podcast. I was coming back from camping this summer, driving my travel trailer down the freeway and going, I need to figure out what's working right now on Amazon Influencer. Found your podcast, listened to an episode or two, really enjoyed it, wanted to have you on. It's been a couple months. We've been trying to make this happen, but
sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's okay. We're busy. But I want to encourage people to go follow you on your podcast and listen along. I want to encourage you to come out with more episodes. But you do seem to be very busy. Where else can people keep up with you? Tell us about your podcast. Tell us about where else people can keep up with you.
So I'll say it. I'll go ahead and say it now, that there are some really good podcast episodes I've put out already. And that's how you found me, like you said. So that is something I'm struggling with finding the time with at the moment. So feel free to listen to the library I've already got there. More episodes will be coming as soon as I can find the time to do so. However, I do have a Facebook group as well, which you can link in the show notes, I'm sure. And that's the Amazon Influencer Strategies Facebook community. We're just over 1,000 members strong in that group, but I do my best to try to stay in there a little more active. It's a little easier for me right now to be able to engage with that community in that setting. And especially going into the Q4, like everything we've just kind of outlined in this podcast, I'll be kind of laying out some of those tips and strategies, as well as we'll have some conversations going on in there as well as to what's working for some and not for others. And we can kind of go back and forth and get you guys on the right track.
All right. Well, let's see how many Niche Pursuits listeners we can get into your Facebook group so we can all make the best of Q4. I know I really appreciate the timing of this. I really pulled to get you on before we hit Q4 so people could get that value out of Q4. So thank you for being generous and joining us before that I really appreciate it. Mike, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for giving us an updated strategy for our approach into 2026. Now, again, a reminder, if a lot of this was advanced or you're looking to learn more about the Amazon Influencer Program fundamentally, we're going to link in the show notes to several podcast episodes we've done where it's much more of a basic overview approach and a lot of strategies that are still important to this day, but you kind of want to layer on Mike's strategies on top of those. So a reminder, maybe go back and listen to those. Thank you again. And hopefully we'll do a part 2 at some point in the future.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Hopefully that we can make that happen. And thanks for having me on today, Jared.
My pleasure. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy.
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time-consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you published and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code PODCAST for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code PODCAST to get $15 off.